People have asked me if you can really bond with a jumping spider. And as someone who has spent an unreasonable amount of time trying to befriend tiny spiders, I have some thoughts. I've raised jumping spiders from tiny slings until their very last day, cared for spiders I was gifted, as well as spiders from breeders. And along the way, I've learned a lot about what works and what absolutely does not. So if you're looking to bond with your jumping spider, here are the biggest lessons I've learned. The biggest mistake people make is trying to interact too soon. When a jumping spider moves into a new enclosure, their first priority isn't making friends with you. Most spiders will build a hammock and spend several days settling in. If your spider is hiding in its hammock, leave it alone. Never force a spider out, especially if it's preparing to molt. And here's something that surprised me when I first started keeping jumping spiders. A molt can completely change their personality. So if your spider suddenly seems withdrawn or isn't acting like themselves, don't panic. Sometimes they're just getting ready for a new pair of pants. The first step to bonding with your spider is respecting their boundaries. Before you can build trust, you need to understand what your spider is trying to tell you. A head tilt usually means they're trying to get a better look at something. If your spider is sitting flat against the surface with its legs tucked underneath it, kind of like a cat loaf, they're usually resting or napping. Grooming is a great sign. A spider that feels comfortable will often clean itself right in front of you. This means no thank you. If they raise their legs or seem defensive, end the interaction and try again tomorrow. Think of it this way. If every time you're around your spider and it says, "I'm uncomfortable," and you ignore it, you're teaching it that anytime you're around, it's going to be a stressful situation. And that's not exactly how you make friends. One of the easiest ways to build trust is simply being present. Jumping spiders have incredible eyesight. They notice movement, they watch people, and over time, they become familiar with the things they see every day. I can't prove my spiders recognize me specifically. Science doesn't really have an answer for that, but I absolutely noticed that they became more comfortable with my presence over time. Do you think you can actually bond with jumping spiders? Leave a comment and let me know, because I'm genuinely curious. I think they recognize me, but maybe it's just because I want them to recognize me. One of the most important things I've learned is to let the spider tell me when they're ready to interact. When I see them hanging out by the door, I know there's a good chance they're interested in exploring. Those are the best times to invite them out. I have a little magnetic decoration on the enclosure door, and my spider will often sit there when they're awake and curious. I open the door and wait for their official decision. I let them explore, and if they want to climb onto my hand, they can. And if not, that's fine too. Most people don't realize that human skin is actually kind of unpleasant for spiders. It tastes weird, it feels weird, it's warm, and they can even feel the vibrations from your pulse. So if your spider doesn't want to immediately sit on your hand, don't take it personally. When I started handling my very first spider, I was nervous to let her crawl on my hand, so I started with a glove. It helped me get comfortable having a spider walk on me, and it let the spider get used to my presence without immediately dealing with my weird human skin. 5 minutes of a positive interaction is way more beneficial than 30 minutes of a forced interaction. For example, I have a newer spider right now who's incredibly shy. With some of my spiders, I could move around normally and they'd happily come out and explore. This little guy, not so much. I have to move very slowly around him and let him make all the decisions. If he starts looking nervous or uncomfortable, I don't push it. I just let him go back into his enclosure and we try again another day. And honestly, that's a huge part of building trust, knowing when to end it. One thing I like to do afterwards is offer a meal. I don't know if they're making the connection between spending time with me and getting food afterward, but I try to make sure our interactions end on a positive note. It just feels like a nice way to wrap things up. One of my favorite ways to interact with my spiders is placing them on a large plant away from anything they could jump on and letting them climb while I supervise. This gives them exercise, enrichment, and opportunities to interact with me naturally. I've noticed that some of my strongest bonding moments happen when my spiders were exploring rather than being handled. Some spiders are naturally curious, some are shy. Some seem to enjoy exploring with you, and some would rather stay home. Learning your spider's personality is part of building trust. So can you actually bond with a jumping spider? I don't think they love us the way a dog does, and I don't think they see us as family, but I do think they can learn who they can trust. After raising babies, watching them grow, learning their personalities, and spending countless hours with them, I know I formed a bond. And maybe that's the only part that matters.